Shiloh Sanders didn't just show up for his first NFL preseason game. He made sure everyone in the stadium and everyone watching across the league knew he belonged. The undrafted rookie out of Colorado, son of Hall of Fame legend Deion Primetime Sanders, was supposed to just be another name fighting for the bottom of the roster. Instead, over the Tennessee Titans. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Just one night after his younger brother, Shiloh, lit it up as the Browns' starting cornerback. Now both Sanders brothers are in the NFL spotlight, but Shiloh's path might be even more complicated. Hey, what's going on? This is the Huddle HQ. Make sure you pause the video, go down to the pinned comment, click the link, and put your email in. I'm giving away 5 Shiloh jerseys just to show my appreciation for everyone supporting the channel. This is not a scam. This is the real deal. Sorry for interrupting. Let's get back to the video. Competing in a stacked Buccaneer secondary, he's battling names most fans have never heard, but coaches know all too well. And after what we saw in that preseason opener, the conversation has shifted. He's no longer just a long shot. NFL insiders are starting to talk about his roster chances for real. But here's the thing. Being good enough isn't always enough in this league. For Shiloh to stick, he's going to need more than just a few big hits and highlight plays. And that's where the story gets interesting. The first time Shiloh Sanders lined up in an NFL game, he didn't look wide-eyed or tentative. He looked like a man who'd been waiting his whole life for that moment. Lined up at safety, creeping toward the line of scrimmage, Shiloh timed the snap perfectly. The instant the ball moved, he was gone, a blur through the gap, untouched on his way to Brandon Allen. The Titans' cornerback barely got the ball out before Shiloh drove him into the turf, forcing an incompletion and sending a message. This rookie isn't here for show. That hit wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. It told Tampa Bay's coaches that Shiloh could execute a designed blitz at NFL speed and finish the play. It told his teammates he wasn't going to tiptoe through his first action. And it told the fans, many of whom had only heard of Shiloh because of his last name, that he had his own brand of intensity. But Shiloh wasn't done. Later in the second half, he knifed through traffic to bring down Titans running back Kaval Mullings after a short game, setting up a 3rd and 3. Plays like that don't show up on highlight reels, but coaches see them as proof you can read a play, close space quickly, and tackle clean. That's the kind of detail that earns trust. For an undrafted rookie, the first impression is everything. And in one half of football, Shiloh Sanders turned what could have been a quiet, forgettable debut into the kind of performance that gets replayed in film rooms and talked about by NFL insiders.
Mattered. It wasn't just about making plays, it was about showing the coaches he's dependable under pressure. Still, reality is reality. The Bucs can't keep everyone. Every rep Shiloh gets in practice, every snap he sees on special teams is an audition. And the next 2 preseason games will determine whether he's just camp pendant. Future. In today's NFL, where player safety rules limit how hard you can hit and when you can hit, truly physical defensive backs are becoming rare. Shiloh Sanders is one of the few who still play with that old school edge, the kind that makes receivers think twice about coming over the middle. It's not just about delivering big hits for highlight reels. It's about sending a message with every tackle. In Colorado, Shiloh built his reputation as a tone setter. He wasn't the fastest safety on the field, but he brought an attitude that coaches loved. An aggressive mindset paired with enough discipline to avoid unnecessary penalties. Now in Tampa Bay, he's trying to prove that physicality can translate at the NFL level. But here's the challenge. In the pros, you can't just light someone up in practice. NFL rules and the risk of injuring your teammates keep contact limited. That means players like Shiloh have to wait until preseason and game situations to show that side of their game. When he blew through that blitz against Brandon Allen, it was the first real chance he had to display his physical brand of football since college, and he made it count. Shiloh knows that this trait can be his ticket onto the roster. If he can prove to Todd BS that he can bring controlled aggression to special teams and be a reliable enforcer on defense, he'll carve out a role. And make no mistake, in a league full of skilled players who hate getting hit, having a safety who embraces it is an advantage every coach wants. For an undrafted rookie like Shiloh Sanders, cracking the defensive rotation is only half the battle. The other half is proving you can be a difference maker on special teams. In the NFL, that's often the golden ticket for a player at the bottom of the depth chart. Coaches want versatility, and if you can contribute in multiple phases of the game, your chances of making the team skyrocket. Shiloh knows this. When asked what role he envisions on special teams, his answer was simple: everywhere. That's not just talk, that's the mindset of a player who understands the stakes. He's willing to run down kicks, cover punts, block turns, whatever it takes to stick on the roster. And with his speed, tackling ability, and the willingness to initiate contact, he has the tools to thrive in those roles. Todd BS has always valued special teams contributions when finalizing rosters. For players on the fringe, it's often the deciding factor. A safety who can double as a core special teams player is more valuable than one-dimensional depth, and Shiloh has the athleticism and aggression to excel there. That's why the next 2 preseason games are critical. We've already seen him make an impact on defense, but special teams will be the proving ground. If he can stack tackles, create disruption, and show up on film in those units, it won't just make the coaches take notice, it could force their hand. Because in the NFL, plenty of guys can play safety. The ones who can play safety and dominate on special teams are the ones who survive roster cuts.
Position is as good as it gets for a rookie trying to make the roster. Teammates notice too. In a locker room filled with young players fighting for jobs, the guys who make plays in games earn instant respect. Shiloh's blitz on Brandon Allen wasn't just a highlight. It showed awareness, timing, and fearlessness, traits that other players feed off. It's the kind of moment that gets talked about in meetings and replayed in film sessions. And while one preseason game doesn't guarantee anything, it does change the conversation. Before the Titans game, Shiloh was just Deion's son trying to make the team. After it, he's the rookie safety who made plays when it counted. In the NFL, that perception shift can be the difference between getting cut and getting a real shot. When NFL insiders talk roster chances, they're not just throwing darts in the dark. These are people plugged into front offices, coaching staffs, and scouting departments. And the word they're starting to use with Shiloh Sanders is viable. The reason he's checking the boxes coaches look for in late roster decisions. First, he's made plays in game situations, not just in practice. That blitz on Brandon Allen, it's on tape now, and the coaches love seeing a young player execute a design call at full speed under real pressure. Second, he's shown improvement every week of camp. Sources inside the Bucs camp have noted his progress in coverage discipline and tackling angles, 2 areas that can make or break a safety shot at sticking in the lead. Third, and maybe most importantly, he's embraced special teams. NFL insiders know this is often the deciding factor for fringe players, and Shiloh has been willing to plug in anywhere. That's the stuff that makes a coach think twice before letting a guy go. One NFC scout said there's also the intangible factor. Shiloh carries himself like he belongs. He's not shying away from the Sanders spotlight, but he's not leaning on it either. Insiders can tell when a player is just along for the ride and when he's grinding to earn every snap. Is he guaranteed a spot? No. But in a league where undrafted rookies make rosters every year by stacking little wins, Shiloh's already put enough on film to make the decision in Tampa Bay a lot harder than people expected a month ago. Carrying the Sanders name in the NFL is like playing every snap under a spotlight. On one hand, it's a built-in brand. The son of Deion Primetime Sanders will always draw attention from fans, media, and even opponents. It opens doors, puts cameras on you, and guarantees your highlights get shared faster than most rookies. For Shiloh, that means every play, whether it's a blitz, a clean tackle, or even a simple pass breakup, gets noticed. But that spotlight cuts both ways. The Sanders name comes with expectations that few rookies could ever meet. A solid game might be good enough for another undrafted safety, but for Shiloh, it's measured against the Hall of Fame standard. His father was a generational talent, and people will always wonder if his sons can live up to that legacy, fair or not. It also means the smallest mistakes can become headlines. A missed tackle or blown coverage isn't just a bad rep, it's primetime sons struggling, plastered across sports blogs and debate shows. Coaches know that kind of attention can become a distraction, especially in a tight locker room fight for roster spots. Yet Shiloh seems unfazed. He's not ducking from the weight of the name. He's embracing it while making clear he's carving out his own identity. Every hit, every hustle play, every rep on special teams is his way of proving he's more than just a famous last name. And if he can keep stacking those moments, the Sanders name might go from burden to the ultimate calling card. The path is clear, but it's narrow. For Shiloh Sanders to go from undrafted long shot to wearing a Buccaneers jersey in week 1, he has to nail the fundamentals in these final weeks of preseason. That starts with consistency, stacking good practices and showing coaches they can trust him to be in the right place every time without mental lapses.
Special teams will be the make-or-break factor. In the NFL, the back end of the roster is filled with players who can play multiple roles in the kicking game. If Shiloh can prove he's a core contributor on punt coverage, kickoff coverage, and return units, it'll give Todd Bowles a reason to keep him, even if the safety room feels crowded. The other key, flash plays in game action. Coaches want to see at least 1 or 2 moments in the remaining preseason games where he changes a drive, a big third down tackle, a forced incompletion, maybe even a takeaway. Those are the plays that stick in decision-makers' minds when they're debating the final roster spots. Finally, he has to keep showing the intangibles that have already earned them praise: energy, toughness, and the ability to elevate teammates around him. In a league full of talented athletes, the guy who brings both production and presence is the ones who survive cut day. If Shiloh can check those boxes, the conversation won't be about whether he makes the team, it'll be how big of a role can we give him. And for an undrafted rookie, that's the best kind of question to have hanging in the air. Shiloh Sanders walked into the NFL as an undrafted rookie with a fight on his hands. 3 weeks into camp, he's no longer just Deion's son trying to make a roster. He's a legitimate contender who's already forced coaches, teammates, and NFL insiders to take notice. From delivering a clean, punishing blitz in his debut to showing steady improvement in practice, he's proving that he belongs in this league. The road ahead isn't easy. Tampa Bay's secondary is stacked and roster spots are scarce. But Shiloh has the traits coaches can't teach: physicality, hustle, and willingness to do whatever's asked of him, especially on special teams. Those are the traits that often tilt tough roster decisions in a player's favor. Now it comes down to how he finishes. With 2 preseason games left and joint practices on the schedule, he has the stage to solidify his place. If he keeps stacking good reps and delivering in big moments, he won't just make the team, he'll make sure his NFL journey is defined by his name, not just the one on the back of his jersey. Because in the NFL, you don't get remembered for where you started, you get remembered for what you do when you get your shot. And Shiloh Sanders isn't wasting his. This is the Huddle HQ. Thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with more NFL updates.